kind of sore throat.
Oh, great. You're going to be great for this episode, huh?
Yeah.
Wait, I gotta go more energized. That was really poor. Welcome to Pound It. Episode 6.
6 something.
What the title comes in organically. Don't force it.
6, get your ticks.
No, you're what? There's gonna be no relevance to this.
6, take a pics.
6, take a pic, and then it's the image is us taking a selfie. That's gonna be
6,
the cover.
Add in to the mix.
Ooh, hush hush. We can't say our guest star yet. We haven't even made an introduction. Are you gonna do that every episode?
No, it's just fun.
Okay. So
take it or leave it. So we can use like now.
Yeah. You know, we practiced a little bit. It was a little annoying listening back to it completely.
You know, it was annoying hearing other people talk after that.
What, like me?
No, just like in general, like going to class and hearing teachers say like all the time. No, everyone thought it was kind of weird that I had my banjo there and was like strumming it every time someone said like, but it was fine.
Okay, first thing first, I want to talk about the names of the podcast. I don't think we should keep going for the rhyming thing. I think like just.
I think we desperately need to know how to rhyme better.
Yeah. I don't know about the raps either. Okay, I'm gonna throw that out there. I was listening back to, especially the last one. The last one was bad.
That's why it's the pressure to get better.
I like it personally. I love it, but when I edit it, I want to shoot myself because it's so bad. I mean, we can
build up strength.
I think for this episode, let's stand off. Maybe we should save it for just in-person ones because I think that's when it really gets good.
Okay. Okay. Well, I have, as I said, a friend that is a rapper. So the next time we have a podcast, he could be a guest.
That's true. I would like that. I think we should start trying to integrate like guests into this thing on a normal basis. Yeah,
like on a super normal basis, like every time.
Well, I don't know about every
We're
time.
not that interesting. Every other podcast has guests.
What are you talking about? It's
not just like the one person.
No, they love us. Are you kidding me? Israel's gonna comment. Can't wait to see more of you guys.
Can't wait to not have guests.
Yeah. I just love it just being you and you guys repeating the same things that you talk about.
Cool.
So we promised you guys that we talk about the Hive, so we're gonna get to the Hive. But first, the theme of this episode is theories, just in general, all of life theories that we've had throughout high school. For me, mainly.
Well, it's a lifetime of bias.
Yeah.
No, it's just you see patterns and you read a couple of scientific stuff and you hear people blab on about certain things and. It's not objective truth that these things happen, but it's I'm talking for myself, of course, patterns in life that you see, and you can kind of make a generalization, and based on that generalization, you're not spreading it all the time. You're not being like, oh, blah blah blah. You're kind of trying to figure out how this life works, and it's a theory, so it's just not being put in practice per se, but
all right,
we're there. That's how I like to view it. It's not concrete, but you can see the patterns happening. But hold on, are we not going to get our guest to hear the other theories, or is it just about the topic?
First, then, shouldn't we cement what the hive mind is right now before we get our guest on, so we can have like an official presentation of that?
Well, no, because we would like to explain that or remind of it.
Well, don't you know, like Cool Games Inc., you know how they craft the game first, and then they have a presentation. They know fully, like, what...
Oh, so okay. So you want to talk about it first so we offend her the least amount possible.
So we cement it, like, okay, we know what it is. Because right now, I don't know where you're at with it, and I don't know where I'm at with it either.
Oh, okay, sure, fine.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what is the hive mind theory to you, Gabriel?
Well, I haven't thought about it as recently as when I've been in Dash,
Yeah, me
but
neither.
it still kind of applies, still kind of doesn't. It applies in different areas, especially when you get into how girls enter relationships and stuff. But it's essentially how. Okay, so a hive mind in a bee colony, everyone's kind of synchronized together to like do their work and stuff and fill the little little holes in their hive with honey and all that.
Mhm.
And it's part of like their evolutionary wiring to just like work together in this way. And then there's always one queen and all that. And in a misogynistic sort of sexist way, you could
Yes, we have to admit we are men. This is a men way of thinking about it. But I think the theory has legs. I think it actually, in turn, does
no,
relate
there
to.
are some evolutionary like backing to it, but
No, but I don't think it's
just a name we put it
females. I think it's
on.
also can be applied to males too. I think our own group has.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
It can definitely be on applied to men, but it's just a funny little thing to say when you see it happening in real life in front of you, just being like, "Oh, the hive mind."
Yeah, so just like bees, though, you know, girls, they have one sting and then they die.
Whoa.
I think what I always took away from it is, yeah, the collective mind. It's this thing where you become one with your group.
Yeah.
And so mostly it's easier to spot with females. That's the thing. When you look at a female group, it's easy to see that they've meshed completely and merged into one. And when they're separate, they become almost like there's this change, you know?
There's a difference between the girl who hangs out with all the guys and the girl who's hanging strictly only with the other girls.
Yeah.
Unless dating or whatever. But everyone makes tribes based on their ethnicity or sex or whatever. And we touched upon that like last time for a second.
There's actually like a psychology term that's smarter than the hive mind called groupthink.
It's groupthink.
Yeah. The Google Dictionary of groupthink is the practice of thinking or making decisions as a group in a way that discourages creativity or individual responsibility.
Now, it could be that, but it could also just be an evolutionary thing that just like has been passed down, and this just kind of works for certain people. And the hive mind, when you talk about the hive mind, it's just girls, usually straight girls.
In what we've observed, so we're your average, you know, biologists, observationalists.
We're experts 100%.
Yeah,
this is why we're saying theories.
We haven't
putting out our opinions about shit.
We're preparing it to, you know, have the documentation for further scientific research. Hopefully, you know, someday we can present this to the U.S. government and get funding.
And have multiple experiments done in different ways, and so people have similar results, and we're sending that to our overseas scientists. So.
Yeah. The theory also entails that the females will use each other to determine, like, okay, let's say a guy likes a girl or whatever who's a part of the hive mind. So then the hive mind, it's not up to the girl whether or not to date the guy. It's up to the hive mind whether the guy is suitable for this one girl. So she is not the one making decisions. And in turn, when they're in a relationship or dating, it becomes that it's this group that is deciding things.
Yeah, so that may come in the form of different things. Mm-hmm. Okay. These things are based off a generalization, which is our observations of the majority of these people. So it's based on a percentage. This is not the case all of the time. There will be exceptions, not all blank.
Let's just keep calling ourselves sexists. Yeah.
Yeah, so for every like 10 yards I go, I have to say I'm a sexist.
Yeah.
So, and you follow certain usually straight girls that hang out with each other.
Oh, she's ready. Our guest is ready. All right, now we have our featured female expert.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Kailani.
Hi, Gabriel. How are you?
Wait, introduce
I'm
yourself
good.
to the audience. This isn't a personal call, okay?
This is a.
This
We
is
haven't seen each other in a while.
Okay, fine. I guess I won't. Gabriel, don't tell me how you are. Um,
All right.
I'm Kailani, the featured female guest, I guess.
featured female expert, because we
Right,
need
expert.
we're
Because I'm an expert in females. Yes.
yes, yeah, exactly.
This is science.
This is a very scientific podcast episode. It's all about theories.
Okay, I apologize. I will not cause a discrepancy in your data. Go ahead.
Okay.
No. We're trying to iron out the data. We're just seeking truth. Okay. If we have
Yeah.
to change things, we're fine with that.
Yeah. So
You have a very warped definition of scientific and data.
I don't know what you're talking about. We're scientists.
I have a PhD right on this wall.
Trust him.
Mhm.
That's an objective truth. Anyway,
Ooh. Okay. Wow. Kailani, what do you think the hive mind is? First off.
I think it's like groupthink, kind of.
yes.
Like,
Mhm.
to some extent, like one opinion is amplified in the presence of others and it kind of just takes over.
All right. I like how you use the word group thing because we were using that exact word when we were organizing.
I said it to Alex.
I stole it.
Oh, okay.
I stole it to be more scientific.
Alex, you have already caused a discrepancy in the data. I think
No,
you are.
no, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well,
It was my own scientific
So you
theory, I'm just a scientist.
okay,
So
if you
there's
say
power to that. Don't just say you're just a scientist.
Oh, you're right. I am.
more than just a scientist.
Yeah. How should we begin with describing hive mind? I mean, that's a good start. It is groupthink.
You're gonna tell me what it is?
Yeah. This is a full-on talk through it, and you are our female expert, so you will confirm. You will argue with us over points. You are here to represent how our theory is so misguided and wrong and sexist and misogynist.
Well, not really.
Or to confirm everything and to say that we are.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Yeah. It's either or. It's all based off of we're trying to get to the truth.
Don't find me, okay? Just tell me.
Okay. So, hive mind. Gabriel, explain the bees, because
Okay, so you know how bees operate in a hive, yes?
Yes.
They kind of are like evolutionarily wired to kind of work together at this one thing, creating and maintaining the hive, bringing back honey. There's always one queen, and there's a sort of structure to all of these things.
Okay.
it's almost like a punchline, and that's how we feel about women.
Yeah, I know. Because especially when I say queen, it's like, oh, there's a queen in society. I'll just say one thing, and we can talk about it and see if you agree, okay?
Okay.
The first thing that we brought up is girls use other girls to measure up the dating sort of the ability to date other guys. They measure up guys by talking about it. It's like, oh, would that
okay? Do you mean
be right?
It's a collective decision.
Okay, wait. So do you mean like if a girl sees that he just broke up with his ex, she looks at his ex's, I don't know. She's like, oh, well, she wasn't even that pretty. I can get him.
No. It's more of
my bad.
Yeah, it's more of she turns to her friends and discusses about this. The hive mind is the idea that, okay, let's say a guy likes a girl, right? So instead of the girl deciding whether or not she wants to date the guy, she turns to her friends, and through her friends, a decision is made whether or not it is
unconsciously or consciously.
Yeah, it's either unconsciously or consciously, whether or not the group values that person as a person, as a guy hired
as a guy that has reputation amongst
the group or not.
Yeah.
And then throughout the relationship, this whole thing is happening behind the scenes, this unconscious or conscious decision making among the group.
Okay. Oh, okay. I was really off. I did not understand it the first. I get it now.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
it's like the phrase, when you
that.
date a girl, you date her friends type of thing. That's kind of the hive mind.
To some extent, there is truth to that, but I'm gonna tell you that I kind of think that's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's what you're here for.
Not all girls, basically. I don't want to.
It's a generalization, obviously, and
Okay.
it comes from not being in, being from the outside and observing.
Okay. There is definitely truth to the generalization, I will say. But usually I would say that occurs with people who are a lot more malleable in that sense. Like their minds, like they themselves are not powerful enough to be able to like emphasize their own independent thought.
Mm-hmm.
And like they're obviously worried about what other people will think. I would say that that's a lot more of like an insecurity thing for some girls.
Would you say this is kind of like a natural groove that just happens unless you kind of like practice more independence with yourself and like don't really like care about what other people think? Or because we talked about like tribalism and groupthink and whatever, and there are evolutionary sort of factors that are pushing us all the time. We just don't really consciously, talk about it or like point out them out. So, like, what would you
Someone's
think?
getting arrested.
Maybe us soon.
It's the police. Oh, God.
Okay, honestly, every single girl goes through a period of insecurity, and then everyone goes through a group of bad friends or things like that, or just an experience where they themselves are not thinking independently enough to be able to call their own shots. So I'm not going to say that I think like this is very much universally true for every girl, even if they don't always like show that side of themselves. Everyone to some extent has thought about like, oh, what would someone else think of this action? But I will say that every girl definitely consults with her friends about her relationship, regardless of what the matter is. It's an advice thing. Like a lot of times you can give advice, but you can't take your own. I don't know if this happens to guys, but when girls get involved with a guy, it becomes very like hazy around them because you're kind of like swept up in the moment. So if you can't see clearly, your friends will do that for you. The thing is, like earlier on, a friend's input is not really all that relevant, I would say, just because if you like someone, you're not really gonna care what anybody else thinks as much. It's gonna be a much more like selfish act in that sense.
Can you give me what you think about this?
It's like you're about to spit some sick rhymes or something.
What do you think about this? I've heard on many occasions that girls tend to be more risk or rejection averse than guys.
I mean, you have to, in a sense.
So girls tend to be the ones that can choose their mate. Guys kind of apply to be that mate. And they're not really the girls are not waiting in line to be with a guy unless he's like some super, I don't know, somehow a super attractive.
NFL, Michael Jordan.
Going back to Tinder, I think is a very fascinating thing where most girls using Tinder are saying no to like about 9 out of 10 of the guys. Meanwhile,
Bumble.
Yeah, see, that's why Bumble was created too, because it's exactly that. The nature of girls wanting to choose their guy. When you're a guy and you're using Bumble, the app, the dating app, you basically put your profile out there. You don't choose anybody. You just have it out there. So it's a more, I'd say, natural way that straight relationships kind of occur. But do you subscribe to that?
Okay, yeah, but I think that's kind of just like years of that being the way things worked, and people haven't really strayed from that much. Okay, the way girls think of guys is very much like they just want to stick their dick in something, and that's it.
Which is
you're not wrong. Yeah,
it is kind of the case. Even in different sexualities, it's kind of that way.
But the thing is that also, okay, see, I think of that, but also girls are way more like sexual than guys think they are.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
And the fact, my roommate is like freaking out over here. But okay, so what makes it different is that guys don't think of girls in the sense that they're like these super like I don't know super freaks, like they want to just bow chicka wow wow all the time, So I think it's just a stereotype that's been there for so long and it's been internalized. I think girls are a lot more emotional. Like this is a fact. And so, I mean, this is very generally speaking. The idea of getting rejected by someone that you chose is a very, very like, ooh, like it that one burns. If you look at all of the guys in a girl's like back pocket, it's usually not going to be as many as the amount of girls in a guy's back pocket.
Could you specify
expand
that?
on that?
Girls are picky, right? They pick their people. So they aren't really the people that you choose or like the people that you have chosen in the past is not usually going to be as great of a number as the amount of girls that a guy has chosen in the past, because guys just want to stick their dick in things.
Mm-hmm.
So I've heard the sort of thing where there's short-term guys where their main point of existence is just hook up. They're
Yes.
never going to be a long-term thing.
Yes.
And then there's long-term guys, which are essentially that they can provide for you. Okay, they have the money, but they also have like signals of competence.
Wait, I do disagree with this.
Hold on, I know that was a very anti-PC thing, but
like honestly, when you go out and you meet someone, within a week, you'll know if they're a short-term or a long-term person.
There's this scientific study where it's based on it's correlative studies, right? So it's based on generalization, but it's more studies are showing this. So they wanted to see if it was the main point of attraction for guys was based on looks, socioeconomic standards, or whatever else. They showed a guy who would seem to project a handsomeness based on whatever society deems that way, or biologically handsome, symmetrical face, and then they kind of show competence. It is related to IQ, intelligence, but also the capacity to make money, not necessarily having money. They showed a guy that was just purely handsome but poor, and then they would show a guy that was handsome but he was rich. I think there was a third element where they showed competence. So they found that having wealth was not a main factor. That also handsomeness or general attraction wasn't the main thing, but competence.
Okay, I think it's largely just body language, because you can tell a lot about a person by their body language.
Would you agree that generally how girls are successful in finding another guy, I'll just say guy because this is straight relationships, is primarily their beauty? It's just on their looks.
Okay, long term?
It's not to do with short term or long term. It's meeting someone. It's your first impression of a person and your capability to be with them.
I think that generally, I have met people who do care about money. Like, they do. But generally, girls don't care about your socioeconomic status at all. I'm actually going to say that generally being humble is a good quality to have that many people find attractive.
It does appear to differ when based on age, because when you are younger,
I knew you were going to say that. All right, I think with that thought, we need to move on to, let's talk about the social media.
Wait, no. Well, we didn't talk about how guys see girls. Do they see purely looks? I think to some extent, guys definitely first see girls purely based on their looks.
I agree. I think being a guy, I can comment on this and say that yes, it very much first interaction is look-wise. But me and Gabriel, we're weird guys. But for us, like, it does get to the point where, like, after a week, if we don't find you a female to be interesting to talk to in any way, or like even not even a week, like a day, then it fades extremely quickly.
Yeah, well, that's everything, I think.
Yeah.
Would you ever like see I don't know, if you see a girl, maybe she's gorgeous, but she doesn't have a lot of confidence in herself, would you say that that's like a turnoff?
I think a lot of guys would see that as an opportunity.
Okay,
it sounds,
no, I agree.
Sounds
I
horrible,
can see that, yeah.
but that's what some people are looking for in a relationship.
That
they
takes
want to be the caregiver, and they want to be the mask.
That's a certain guy.
I know. We were talking about ourselves, but
yeah, I mean, we've met those type of guys. Like, we know. I don't want to name names or anything, but yeah, I like people who seek out girls who are less confident, more because it's in terms of like going back to what we were saying before.
Right now, in this moment, can I say it?
What?
Sure.
Okay, so it kind of goes back to the idea that girls are the ones choosing. So
that's what I was gonna say. You just stole it.
They have less standards.
Yes.
That is fact, firsthand experience, right there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad we're having these aha moments.
Yeah, I'm just mad that Kailani, you cut me off to say the same exact thing I was gonna say.
You said go ahead.
Oh, all right.
You have to tell me to stop talking, otherwise I won't.
I think that the ability for guys in general to seek a partner that is beautiful is across sexualities even. I'm bisexual, okay? Mm-hmm. I can notice almost the majority of the time gays will judge other gays based on looks.
That's no secret.
That's no secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just find it interesting how that is a sort of male thing, that we're looking for beauty rather than we'll look later for competence, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, Gabriel, you've told me a lot about the stories of how in Tinder, in the gay side, like, it is extremely easy to match up with people, like, to a point where you once, like, were talking with 3 people in, like, a day, just texting people on Tinder.
Guys are horny as fuck. Their tolerance for another person, it's pretty, you know, they'll go for a lot. It's very wide.
All right, can we move on to the social media aspect of the Hive-Mind?
Yes.
The type of pictures you would normally see on a girl's feed.
Well, okay, for girls, see, this is why I flipping hate. Okay, for girls, it's always about, like, showing off your body, or, like, the selfie, or, like, making sure that you look pretty and everything. And they're always bikini pics, without a doubt, but kind of, like, popping in every photo kind of thing.
Yes, yeah. And we were interested in why this is.
Yeah.
So
they want to show off. They want people to tell them. They want, like, security. They're seeking that, like, actively seeking that out from others. So they want, like, guys to say, like, oh my god, like, this girl's so hot, let me hit her up, whatever.
Well, to think of it from, like, even more of, like, a society pinpoint.
Sought after.
Yeah, it's this feeling of you're leveling up in the ranks, per se.
It's signaling your status a little bit.
Yes, yeah. By having more of these type of pictures, people will have in their mind more of an ingrained image of you being this type of person, like, you know, more sexy, more attractive.
And if the main thing that's going to make you win in this sort of competition of sex or whatever, it would be showing off that you are more beautiful than other women.
Okay, wait, now I'm, like, self-assessing, because I just recently posted a sort of, it was like a group photo at the beach, but, like,
we have thoughts on group photos.
Wait.
Yeah.
Like, I posted the one that was, like, most conservative, because, like, I didn't want people to see, like, anything that's not their business.
Yeah, and then there's a fine line between doing that and also appearing as a slut.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. When your Instagram becomes, like, solely, like, just selfies and, like, bikini pics, that's when you know you have a very high maintenance girl.
I want to preface that it's not a bad thing. Everyone does this,
Yeah.
whether it be conscious or unconscious. Mostly unconscious, I feel. I don't think anyone's thinking about the societal ramifications of posting a bikini pic, but
I mean, we've discussed that Hive-Mind is not only like it's most visible for female, like a girl group, but it applies to every type of group you can see it in. Like it exists always, the Hive-Mind.
okay, so if I'm making the metaphor or analogy that this is a competition between girls to appear the most attractive, nobody's really making witty captions unless you're a dude at this point.
Unless you're what?
Well, okay, wait, no, witty captions. I'd have to think about that more because that's actually
Excuse me,
more
I make very witty captions. Don't start with me. I think I took a group
picture.
photo and my caption was, "None of these were posed, I swear." That shit is funny.
Yeah,
Thank
that
you.
was good.
Okay, so I explained earlier that beach photos, if the whole competition thing is happening,
Buns out.
Yeah, so one could theorize that if you were posing with all of these other beautiful women, you are kind of like all together signaling. Yeah, you're signaling your status all at once.
Okay.
Like you guys are on the same playing field of beauty as all the rest of them.
No. Okay.
Wait,
I just realized that it's also very dependent upon the way that you're posed.
Oh, okay, this is interesting.
Because if you are kind of like crouched over, like no one's really trying to like pop a hip or like pop their butts out or their boobs out or whatever, like you're not trying to accentuate the features that sexualize you or make you more attractive.
Yeah, you want to appear modest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then it signals a very different thing. It could just be you taking a picture with your friends.
The thought just occurred to me that there is the concept of not appearing like you have too many mates.
Okay, if you're actively
because you have one. Okay, I'm sorry, this is going to sound really bad, but evolutionarily, you want to protect. You want the highest success rate of reproducing a child, right? So you have a very finite amount of eggs, and if you are like men spewing your sperm everywhere, you can't really do that. So that is a connection as to why guys can be so open with their sperm. They produce infinite amounts of it, while you have a very finite
biological thing. It's definitely very much ingrained into the way that we were made, for sure.
Right, and then that would be linked to sluttiness, which is if you appear to be signaling your sexuality too much, that could be off-putting to other males because there's several things with that. But the paternity of the child, it would be weird, and it would be
the paternity of the child.
No. This is
a Dr. Phil episode.
No. Yeah,
that's what I think of when I see.
By paternity, I do mean the confusion of who the kid, who the baby mama, you know.
I don't know if I agree with that entirely.
Honestly, okay. Speaking on my brother's behalf, because he's definitely seen slutty girls and like I know his mindset on them. Okay, if you're a slutty girl, okay, this is a generalization.
I love how we have to always say that.
I like that. I'm happy for you, Kailani, but
there are two kinds of slutty girls. Some of them are just very woke, you know, they just like dick, that's it. The other is just very insecure and is constantly looking for validation. So those are the two kinds. If you are actively not trying to look like a slut, that could be because you're afraid of like, I don't know, I think if you are okay with your sexuality and what you've done, you don't really have to worry about that. You don't really think about that aspect. But to some extent, you're definitely concerned with the way you're perceived by others. What was the question?
There's no question. There's just
it's just keep going with whatever your thoughts go.
Biologically, we get horny, right? When you're in that sort of situation, right? It's supposed to ignite the flames that gets you to home base, you know, full home run.
Just keep using more euphemisms, you know.
But also,
euphemisms kind of like cemented. It's
I don't know
interesting.
if you know this. I don't know if you know this because this kind of goes along with the biological thing. The week prior to getting your period, girls' hormones are literally off the charts.
Yeah,
Yeah, they want that dick.
Jenny's told us about this.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that's also like a thing.
Yeah, they're hot to trot. They're begging for dick, especially when they're bleeding.
Yeah,
that's what I've heard.
Also, your body produces the most pheromones that week because that's usually the week when you're in ovulation. But like that's when your body gives off the most pheromones. It's going to attract the guys to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I bring up a very important part to what I was saying?
Go for it.
There's a lot of evolutionary factors that are happening and biological factors, but as new technology arises, we haven't really adapted to them. Condoms are, like, if you look at the past, is a pretty new thing. Also, this has to do with the pill, too. Girls are having way much more freedom in what they can or cannot do.
Absolutely.
Who they can mate with and who cannot.
They're not their sluts all the time.
Yeah, so it becomes more okay to, I don't really want to use slut, but be with multiple partners and stuff. And so much so that people in society are empowering women to fuck as many people as they want.
People in society are trying to empower women to own their sexuality. But that does not necessarily mean to go out and have sex with every single person that you feel compelled to have sex with. Like, that generally just means, like, own your body, do what you want with it. To some extent, girls are also very much, they're still picky within that sense. Even if you own your sexuality and you think someone is attractive, you might just have different plans. It's still what you're searching for. It's very much like what you're looking for.
But you could come back to the gays for a bit. That we can spray our sperm wherever. That could be a reason why if you see the amount of people that the gays or bisexual, LGBT, whatever.
Why do you keep saying it like that?
Because I think it's funny personally.
Okay, yeah.
They will go on to do more poly relationships. They will experiment more. Because they can. There's a fact risk that you can't impregnate a guy. So
okay, when AIDS and STDs, when there was that huge scare, like in the 80s, I want to know what the difference was, like prior to it, and then when there was that big burst of
the difference of what.
Like, what changed? What changed for people? Well, people didn't really know what it was back then. People would just die.
I think people were starting to die from
it. People were just dying and nobody knew what it was.
I'm not exactly sure.
How exactly did that change the way that the gay community would have...
Well, first they had so many other problems on their plate that it wasn't a huge deal, but now that, gay marriage is legal and there's much more opportunities to be free with your sexuality and stuff. They are like STD clinics are giving out condoms and doing all these things to protect people.
And there's
from that, especially gays, because it's very. It is statistically true that gays will be more sexually active, and thus there is more STDs floating around in these communities. So they have what's called PrEP, which is basically a pill you take every day to minimize your risk of getting HIV, which it turns into AIDS later. That's why there's Grindr too. There's not a straight equivalent of that really, but
because it's a hookup app. It's not a dating app. Grindr's like straight up.
Grindr. It's basically just hookup.
So Tinder is a dating app. I thought it was like there was a big hookup culture.
There is, but there's so many walls. People will put on their bio hookups only. Stuff like that.
Oh yeah, and there's key phrases or whatever, like I'm here for a short time, not a long time, or something like that.
A good time, not a long time.
Yeah, I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's that.
Okay. Do we have anything else we want to talk about the hive mind theory?
When you get comments on these bikini photos, or you'll see that more than any other picture you could possibly post, you'll get 20, 30, or 40 comments if you're a girl on these pics. And usually there's a pattern to these. So it would just be other girls.
Hey, I got 6 comments, man.
Not you specifically, but you do. Admittedly, you are in this kind of culture we're looking at. But there'd be 20 or 30 comments being like, "Yeah, girl, yeah, you so hot, oh my god," and then emojis with heart, eyes, and all of these things.
Okay, so
thinking about why that happens as well.
The majority of girls who comment that on other people's pictures understand, whether they acknowledge that or not, that their friend is searching for validation from elsewhere. And so you want to be that person to amp them up, just as you would want your friend to amp you up if you were searching for validation.
Cool, that's exactly what I said.
Yeah. I mean, Gabriel, why don't you comment that on my pictures?
Yeah, boys don't do that. That's gay. That's gay as fuck.
Oh.
I think there's something deeper to it, but I'm not sure yet.
Well, do you have an idea that you want to explore here?
If I were to be a very, easily offended person, and then you were to be like, well, you're a part of that group, you've definitely searched for validation, I'd be like, no.
Yeah, people don't really like hearing that.
Yeah. That's why I'm so glad that it's you on here, Kailani, because I knew that you would discuss
You've
this.
You've been a good sport.
Yeah.
So guys, Instagram.
Okay, let's talk about guys. Gabriel, have you made an observation about guy Instagrams? Because I haven't, actually.
There's a spectrum of it. When you see straight guy profiles, depending on whether or not they're putting themselves on the market to fuck or not, there's varying degrees of this, but they will be showing, the muscle pics in front of the mirror. That's a good one.
Yeah, no, that is, infamous.
If I saw that, I would immediately think that they were fuckboys.
Yeah, so there's a line where you become fuckboy or not. And still to this day, fuckboy kind of confuses me, because some people would call me a fuckboy sometimes. And I was just like, what?
Well, Gabriel, you had your fuckboy period. I mean, you know that.
I don't know what fuckboy even is.
I mean, I don't want to get too personal, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
I'm a horny guy as the rest of guys. I'm getting into puberty, the testosterone is blooming.
Hey, we all had our period, no worries.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to explore the world, and this is how these theories are coming here.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've always talked about the idea that the fuckboy is a line that is so thin among guys. I believe that any guy can get into a fuckboy mentality. It's super easy to bridge that gap.
Okay. Let me dissect the fuckboy mentality.
Okay.
What do fuckboys do? They too have a group of other fuckboys that they are in a group with.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So we're just saying fuckboy to mean, let's define it.
Yeah,
Straight.
Straight.
Generally, because young, okay, high school to college.
The reasons that fuckboys can continue to exist successfully is because they prey on people. When you encounter a fuckboy, you know that they are a fuckboy.
It's pretty obvious.
They're so good at saucing you and telling you precisely what you want to hear that you don't want to get rid of it, because to some extent they're telling you those exact things that you just need for validation. Yes,
and this is why they exist. If they did not work, they would not be existing.
You're like, oh, they must mean it, and you know deep down that they don't, but you need it.
There is a thing amongst guys that you compete for status within these groups, so that shows in physical things and not so obvious things. So for an example, one group may be competing by status by their shoes, how expensive their shoes are, how sick or trendy their shoes are at that moment, or their clothing, because clothing is a good signal for status. I think there's different rankings to guys. And generally, the person who comes on top of that gains the respect of the other guys in the group.
He's a legend.
He's a legend.
Yeah. They'll even put titles to it in the most obvious ways. The legend, he's legendary.
And then you kind of, you strive to be like that. But with
this guy has game.
Yeah.
What is game really?
I mean, well, that's back to our first episode of this podcast.
Say something in terms of like how we read each other's Instagrams. I think that guys, I mean, I don't know. I can't speak from a guy's perspective, but that the way that boys and girls look at each other's profiles and assess each other's is very different. I think that to some extent guys are way more picky than girls are, or at least girls think that the guys are, because honestly, like, guys don't usually post nearly as much as girls do. They don't usually post as, like, I wouldn't say desperate content as girls do, but like, you know what
they're not going out in the beach in a bikini.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like, they might post their shirtless pic, but it's not going to frequent their page as much as a girl's would.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that has two main roots in that. One, I'm going back to how beauty is not necessarily the best thing that guys would invest in order to get a girl. For gay guy, it is kind of very easy for me to pick out a gay guy because they will. I mean, it's the stereotype of looking good as a gay guy. They look pretty, Oh, look at this gay, whatever. But the gays are signaling to each other that that they're attractive, and because as I pointed out earlier, as a theory, the guys are looking for beauty primarily when making an impression on someone. So they're investing more on looking good, but you don't see straight people doing this. And that's why I'm bringing up how there's competition in between like fuckboy groups in seemingly arbitrary things, such as shoes, such as clothing. There's other things too. You won't see them investing in their intelligence per se in like nerdy stuff.
But yeah, that's exactly what Gabriel was saying, though, was that gay men put in a lot more effort into their appearance.
I'll totally say yes to that.
Yeah,
that is almost
honestly, Gabriel has helped me with figuring out how to do stuff for my appearance wise. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't. Literally guided me.
Of the gay helping out the straight.
You've guided me to like hair products and more. Mainly hair products.
But it does help. It does help Alex in a sense that now he appears more confident. But it won't be as helpful if he was gay. Is the thing.
Got it.
So if you look at it in factors, I'm getting a 2x bonus from using a hair product or whatever else. Alex will only be getting like 1.2, maybe 1.4, depending on like whatever.
Right.
But that's how I kind of think about it right now.
Okay, wait. I have a question. If girls put significant, like in straight relationships, if girls put significantly more attention into their appearance than guys do, why is it? Why do they do that if they are the ones that have to be choosing and the guys are the ones that have to impress them?
Oh.
Okay, I think
they want more variety.
They're choosing in a sense, but
you're
rejecting. You're rejecting. It's like putting in like
the
an
power
application.
of rejection. Yeah, you get more power out of it.
Oh,
let me do it. It's like if there was an illustrious job happening right now, and so you're gonna put in an application to do that, and so you are choosing which employer you want. Who is the best out of all these people?
I think that's the best analogy, is comparing it to a job interview.
I don't really think I've ever...
You are the chooser, but you as the job want to look as enticing as possible to bring in those applicants.
Yeah. Okay, I get it.
Gabriel, I'll say that's a perfect analogy.
I think we broke through something today.
I honestly, I'm really proud of us.
And let me just try to make a gay analogy there.
Okay. I'm just already
For
excited.
gay for gay people, it's like applicants going for applicants. So wait,
Wait, so it's like a guy who just starts his own business or something. He's like willing to hire anybody who walks in the door. He's just a guy on LinkedIn. This is gonna be a bitch to edit. Just commenting on that. Can we take a game show break?
this is a game show.
Yeah, there's a game show segment of the show that I do every week, and I usually just do the Gabriel. This one's a little improv game called Couples Therapy. Alright, so Kailani and Gabriel, you'll be acting as a couple in couples therapy. Each of you will be given bad news to break to the other, and whoever gives the bad news, in the best, funniest way is the winner. So we're gonna do rounds of this.
Okay, but what if it's not funny?
Yeah, just try and be fun with it. I'm sending you guys right now, your what you've done to the partner.
Oh my god.
You guys are a conservative, middle-aged couple. You're walking into my
Can
office.
it be kinky?
And so you both have these secrets that you haven't told each other, and now you're in the therapy room. You feel like you should breathe it to each other. Go. So Gabriel, I heard that you had something that you would like to say to Kailani.
Yeah. I don't know how to break this to you. I really don't. You know how sex is always good with me.
I guess.
You know how you like how my penis looks all the time. You're always making those comments like, "Wow, that's a really handsome penis." Well, it's because I'm Jewish, and I don't know if I.
His secret that he was Jewish.
Well, that's not all.
Well, so you married me, right? So I want you to be Jewish.
Oh.
Kailani, what do you have to say about that to him? How does that make you feel?
I killed your German gerbil and we ate it for dinner.
Could you repeat that?
Honey, do you remember how after I complimented your penis, you said your stomach was feeling funny?
Yeah, I kind of remember that.
Okay, that's because you ate Gary.
Who's Gary?
Your German gerbil?
Oh no! Damn.
Well, how does that make you feel, Gabriel?
I'm slightly happy because I didn't know he was German. I thought he was a little Jew hamster, just like me.
You guys have other secrets too. Why don't you share those?
So, do you also remember? Okay, going back to this time that I told you that you had a handsome dick. I was, sweetie. I wanted to. I may or may not have spotted something under there 2 years ago that may or may not have come from me.
What are you talking
I
about?
wanted to make sure to give you some confidence and some validation in case you happen to notice it at some point and
you give me
maybe
fucking STD.
Yes.
I'm glad you're being honest about it now.
Good, we're making some progress.
Because I've been having horrible fucking diarrhea, and I thought
for the last 2 years.
I thought it was your cooking.
Well, actually, it very well could have been your German gerbil.
Yeah, it's hard to differentiate between the two.
Yeah. You know how I like to cook for you sometimes.
Right. Uh-huh.
I also put something a special ingredient, if you will, in your coffee every day?
I hope it's not like a laxative.
Well, no, because you do that. It's not that bad. It's like it's kind of what you do to my dick, except in coffee form. I spit on your coffee.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's
every morning.
Every morning for the last year.
So I tried it one time.
It's kind of just sharing a water bottle. It's just like backwash. It's cool. We're good.
Okay. I added it one time, and you said you really liked it after that, so I just kept doing it.
All right, you guys have your final secrets that you can discuss with each other. This is good. We're getting out the frustration. I feel like we're making a lot of progress.
I would like to bring up our issues in the bedroom.
All right, we have many issues in the bedroom, apparently.
I think that we haven't really been open enough to exploration, and I want to try some new things. And I hear that, men really like them because they're particularly sensitive in this area.
I'm not sensitive in any area, so it's fine.
Well, but I can maybe replace that with other things.
All right. Are you talking dildos? Are you talking you want to open up our marriage a little bit? What is this?
I have a thing for penetrating men.
That's fine as fuck. I'm into that. Additionally, I have something to say about that.
Uh-huh.
So, I don't know how we've been together that long, and you didn't know that. I like that stuff.
Well, I assume, but, it's just, with all this spitting in my coffee and, all these things, I just wasn't sure if you would be into it.
Well, in addition to penetration, I also like it if the source of that penetration was familial. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Did you say familiar?
Familial.
So F-A-M-I.
Yeah. Like familiar, but like the L is
I-A-R?
No, the R is an L. Let me get straight to the point.
Like
your grandmother and your mother have been penetrating me in a sandwich, if you will. Would you like to join us in this? Because I think it runs in the family, penetration.
I want a divorce.
All right, and that was the game show, everybody.
And scene.
I hope you enjoyed that. I'm having a great time creating these game shows, Gabriel. Oh, they're so
That was pretty good.
Thank you. I think
surprised.
I'm liking this segment. I'm glad I created this segment.
Oh, I loved this. This was amazing.
Thank you.
This was probably the best game I've ever played in my life.
Thank you. Yeah, just keep feeding me false praise. I love it.
Nothing really beats Monopoly, but I guess you're a close second.
Oh. Now, do you guys want to keep discussing men and women and the complications of comparisons between them? Or should we talk about other theories that we've had? Whoa, okay.
Take that as you will.
Well, I'm curious. Kailani, have you ever had a theory about social or society life?
To some extent, yes.
Would you feel free of talking about some of those theories, or?
Sure, of course. See, but we already talked about this, so it's very self-explanatory. Okay.
And I can cut it out if it's bad.
It's like I already know the answer to it. Like I know it's okay. Two girls, right, walking down the street. They're twins, right? They look exactly the same.
I like this. It's a scenario.
This is a joke.
Yeah, it really sounded like a stand-up.
One of them is dressed like she's not slutty. No. But she is wearing like a tight dress. And she's like showing off her body. Her twin, however, is wearing like a baggy hoodie,
A parka.
boyfriend jeans, some sneakers, right? Equally beautiful people.
Definitely the more revealing one on average.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I'd
mean,
have to agree.
you'll get fucking catcalled if you, depending on how you look. Approached depending on where you're going, especially if it's a tight dress. I think if you're just wearing baggy stuff, you eliminate the likelihood of bad shit happening dramatically.
So a lot of girls think that they have to be skinny and like curvy, or I mean, like they have to have boobs and a butt to be attractive. And to some extent, if they don't, they can't get people above that, right? And I think it's very weird because girls are much, much, much more strict on themselves and what their body should look like than what guys are. And the reason I just came to this realization was because Kobe showed me this like Instagram account of this girl that he was just met, and he was like, she's the thickest girl I know. And like, I never associated the idea of being thick, like super, super curvy, as attractive.
Well, it's a new trend right now.
Well, yeah, no, it's definitely a new trend, but I don't think that girls have ever strived. Okay, girls have always wanted to be thick, yes, but they always want like no fat on their stomach and like a thigh gap. But they also want to have a huge ass and boobs, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But guys don't necessarily see that whole picture. They just see like the curves. And so it's not necessarily about like a weight number that girls like often obsess over, or
Victorian dresses back in the day would have that kind of weird hip thing. They wear a corset, yes, but their dresses would be like this bell shape.
Oh, okay.
And usually they would be revealing their breasts and whatever. That was a point of attraction if you go back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if girls, okay,
what Kailani's asking though, Gabriel, is the specifics. Is like okay, because the curves, yes. That's obviously an attractive point.
I know that, but
also
she,
like specifics like thigh gaps, like a certain weight, like these things that girls obsess over that are technically kind of arbitrary when you really think about it.
Guys don't necessarily hold girls to that standard. Granted, they would definitely date a model if they had the chance, but I don't think that they expect that from every single girl that they meet. Girls expect that that's what guys want.
I mean, I agree with you. I think a lot of our society is that, though. Even on the kind of the male side, is we look up to a certain figure that is completely unrealistic, blah, 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 and we aim for it.
Can I say about this one thing I completely forgot to mention? So if you're looking for a mate, you want to find a guy that is as competent as you or greater, so that you may, again, going back to goals, fulfill your goals, fulfill your life's needs evolutionarily. Of course, if you're raising a child, you need a partner to help you out with that, because there's so much energy going into becoming pregnant and then having a baby. You can't do it all alone.
I kind of want to add on to that, though. Everyone wants, you can't just say like women, men also, we want someone who's, more has more than us in terms of like anything, like physicality, mentality. I mean, speaking from like a long-term aspect, but that comes with I think like you can't say like, oh, a relationship is feasible because of a person dating someone who's better than them in any way. I think we all have low views of our own selves, to the point where most of the times that's how it feels in relationships, where we think the other person is better than us in some way or has something that we are lacking.
I mean, in a cutesy way, you're looking for someone who can fulfill you, be your other half. There's these phrases.
I think that there's a very large community of people. A lot of girls that I know aim, I wouldn't necessarily say low, but this kind of contrast the whole confidence thing. They aim for guys that they know cannot do better than they am. Like they are like a gift to them.
Interesting.
Knowing that they are above their level of achievement.
But they'll be valued more in the relationship.
Yeah.
Wow, that's rough thought.
Now, why is it necessarily rough?
Well, for me, it's the sense of there's some sort of manipulation in the relationship.
There's always going to be manipulation, I
Yeah,
think.
you know I'm obsessed with that. You know that's like a thing for me that I factor over in my mind. Like ever since I taught my first relationship, talking with you, Gabriel, I've talked about how I'm so scared of feeling like I have power over a person because I don't want that. I don't want to feel like I can manipulate someone in some way, and I'm scared of like ever having that effect.
I think that most girls who do that though are generally very, very insecure in themselves. Because they don't want to get hurt. They don't want to be the ones who.
It may seem like they're lower, but I think because of those things, it may be that their insecurity is bringing them down to a level that their status is actually on par.
That's an ironic way of thinking.
That's a big statement, but
no, I like that.
Actually very, very enlightening.
I like that a lot.
Also, Alex would very much enjoy being gay. I'm sorry, you would. And you've said this before.
Yeah, I've said that.
It is way more easy because there's much less manipulation, as you say, going into it. But a lot of guys don't see it as manipulation. It's the game. It's the thing you do to get women.
I have a disdain for the idea of the game.
Masculinity, basically.
What is the game?
Okay, well, listen to our first podcast. We talk about that.
Define the game.
Okay, so the game is the idea. I feel like I'm going to repeat myself from the first episode. This is really weird.
Whatever.
The game is a masculine way of looking at getting relationships with girls, where you have to do things in a certain way in order to get a response, an interaction from a female. You don't want to be on the losing end of the relationship, essentially. You always want to have the upper hand. And so you go into the relationship with these ideas of like, okay, I can do this to get the girl to think this of me, blah, blah, blah. And so it's fully consciously acting in a way so that way you can get someone to always be, well, for me, it feels like under your thumb in a sense. So you always have that control.
I think you're confusing the game with just like bitter men.
I don't necessarily think that though. Like, because if you look at what's it called, the Reddit red pill.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to really bring that up because it's a lot to explain. But
have we talked about that on the podcast? Because I think this would be a good time to do it. Yeah, red pill is basically like, do you want to take the red pill or blue pill from the Matrix? And there's Reddits that are like, if you take the red pill, you're waking up, man. Women, they're you have to be able to control them. There's a way of doing things, man, that in order to get that woman to like you. And then the blue pill is like, supposedly you're asleep for thinking that a girl will like you for yourself or whatever, or ever anything like that.
That you can fall in love, that it's just a normal process, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And
there's so much you have to explain. The Matrix, okay, the two pills, the red pill is in the movie is to know like all truth or whatever else. Is that true, Alex?
Yes, yeah. It's like to finally know reality was a fantasy. Yeah.
It's the climax of the movie to see all the bad.
The climax.
It's not.
It's the first act.
Okay, it's the first act, but it's okay. It's based off the climax, right?
No,
it's all this bad shit that's happening.
Yeah, it's when he realizes the world is the Matrix, like it's just a program.
It's just an algorithm.
Yeah, yeah, and like there's an actual like aliens controlling everything.
Right. So the analogy to real life is there's an algorithm to getting women.
Mm-hmm. There's a way of doing it.
I'm just generalizing it at this point. But then the other thing is that love just happens. Love, you'll find it. Just be yourself, blah, blah, blah.
I personally believe that, like, love who you love and that's it. Like, you'll find it eventually. Or in some way, maybe it's not like a relationship that you're seeking out, but you'll find it in one form or another. And I think that a lot of people have that mentality, just not necessarily within all types of relationships.
Yeah, there's different types of relationships.
Yeah,
that
I
this
think that
applies.
people want romantic relationships much more, but they don't see it in the same sense, and so they find algorithms to get it faster.
And the sad fact is that a lot of the algorithms are working. I mean, that's...
eHarmony.com, am I right?
We're slowly becoming a more algorithmic society where robots or data can predict what you like and what you don't like. This is seen simply through like recommended videos on YouTube or Facebook posts giving you more of what you want. And eventually things like Tinder, things like Grindr, whatever else will evolve into something that can algorithmically give you the best possible partner. They can be like, hey, I've seen you listening to stupid shit music. Hey, this girl over here likes this stupid shit music. You are a 99% match. Basically, you should seek each other out. I've listened to every conversation you have because I'm Alexa and I've collected that data.
Thanks,
and
Alexa.
I know how you think because I know that you Google, I'm lonely at night.
Yeah, why is this turning into her? Where I'm thinking the story's gonna fall in love with Alexa.
Because her is very good
her is
in
great.
that respect. But the movie, whatever.
No, just her. Alexa's great.
We may very well have not no free will, but in a sense, conceptually no free will when choosing mates, because it will all be chosen for you, which is great, but also, whoa, 1984, blah, blah, blah.
Sick
Dystopian.
reference, Don.
To say that I think while we are becoming a lot more algorithmic, I think that us as a society have become much less disciplined.
Could you explain that? What is this
term
one?
discipline? Like define.
Okay, I think that in all aspects of our life, we have to utilize discipline or hold ourselves to a certain standard or goal in order to achieve whatever we want. I don't think that people are as capable. I don't know. I think to some extent, privilege and all these freedoms that we now feel like we have spoiled us to some extent. Algorithms are progressing, but in order for them to work, you yourself have to stick with them, right? You have to function and be disciplined enough to listen to the algorithms, allow it to choose your breakfast for you. And
I think it's a different type of discipline we're taking on, which is one of more reliance on this instead of us having to take any action.
I just think that so many algorithms are overlapping so that we just pick up all of these different stimulants and just don't know how to act in response. So I think it's like all of these decisions that we now have to make. Our life is not getting simpler, it's getting more complicated. And so having to choose the algorithm to listen to.
I like that perspective.
So
can I make an analogy so that you may see that if I understand what you're talking about?
Yes, go ahead, go.
Okay, people who start a company, donuts, whatever, they've made an even better donut recipe, sort of manipulating people into liking this recipe of donuts or whatever. But it's based on...
I'm losing it. I'm just thinking about donuts.
A big meaty donut.
Yeah. You just described the sprinkles. Is it pink frosted or?
They got the pink frosted sprinkles, and
good.
We've had those people who study the data and statistics of what people like, and they've determined that pink frosting and the green sprinkles is the best algorithmically. They put it in the NASA computer, and they're like, "Oh, humans like this shit." And so they've put it in the market, and now people are getting fat because they're not disciplined enough to get away from their evolutionary temptation. Am I on kind of a correct path here?
Yes. You can be going on all of these different dating websites. They might all have different algorithms. Mm-hmm. What if you have 7 soulmates out there? Then you say, fuck dating sites, I'm going to go out and screw a hobo.
Yep, like a rational person does. Yeah, you're talking about the psychology idea of having too much that you, in the end, just give up on.
Yeah, too many possibilities, and
Yeah, that's what I always love talking about.
I'm reading this book by this monk, and it's called To Know Yourself, right? And he essentially tells you that you should just take what you like and leave what you don't, right? So this is one of the things that I was very much intrigued by. He said that our life is so complicated by wants, right? Because you are happy until you decide to want something, and then you're unhappy because you don't have it. And then once you have it again, you're happy. Only this then clutters your life, and then you just continue to have these wants and periods of unhappiness, right?
That's the hedonic treadmill. That you're craving consumeristically. You're going to the next better thing.
He says that you should clean out your closet, make a uniform for yourself, so that when you get up in the morning, there is no decision that has to be made. You put on the same thing every single day, and that's it. There is no wasted energy put into something else that is unnecessary, because it gives you this excess anxiety because you don't know what to choose, and you have to sit there just figuring that shit out.
Are you talking about physically a uniform like Steve Jobs does,
Yeah,
Apple?
I am getting lost in the metaphors.
He's not saying literally wear the same exact thing every day. He just says
no, I know
clean it out.
That's what successful people say, oh, you're gonna think too much about what you're wearing.
Yes, so many people follow this thing. So if you apply that to the dating world, the whole idea that all of these different options can exhaust you because they add on to the anxiety that you have in having to choose.
I don't really buy into the whole Steve Jobs thing.
It's so complicated.
Well, why not?
I like it metaphorically. I understand it metaphorically, but I'm not.
I can tell you from wearing the same jacket every day, it was pretty satisfying.
I'm not gonna. The only way we're gonna have a genius if we're gonna have a Steve Jobs wearing a turtleneck and jeans because he wants to be most relatable and be like a Simpsons character.
Wait, why are we talking about Steve Jobs again for the third episode in a row?
Because that's what it's saying. She's referencing how in other mediums that type of thing is being said and has sparked a thing with Mark Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs, these weird tech people.
I mean, Louis C.K. does the same thing. If we're going to talk
another
about
thing.
Yeah, comedians, they have their own style. He literally puts on a black T-shirt every freaking other day.
I would argue that in itself is a complication because you're thinking about a uniform. But anyway,
businesses make you wear suits.
Yeah, businesses make you wear suits, so you don't have to think that. You just put on your suit.
I'm more interested in the complication of life.
McDonald's makes me put on that vest. I don't have to think about it.
Okay, but that's because you're on the same playing field as your other employees. You're not
No, I'm a genius because I work at McDonald's, Gabriel. It's as simple as that.
Okay, Steve Jobs.
If I ever have to work at McDonald's, I'll just think of myself as the next Steve Jobs.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Anyway, in modern romance, this concept has been talked about as well, whereby you have so many options dating-wise. You have Tinder that opens up globally to the internet, but also
eHarmony.
Yeah.
Farmers Only.
Why do you keep referencing eHarmony?
She really likes eHarmony.
Yeah.
Christian Mingle. That you are overwhelmed by your options. In the past, a very common way of meeting your spouse would be, oh, we live in the same neighborhood. Oh, we're in the same school district. We're in the confines of this one place, this radius, and I must choose between ugly Lily or medium attractiveness Angeli. And I was like, okay, I'll just go with Angeli because that's the best options right here, and she's nice to me and we live next to each other and it's convenient. But if you have Tinder and they show you 50 of these and there's a whole world out there, and so I want to find my soulmate because I believe in soulmates and true love, and I'm not going to settle with this one person, even though it could be argued that a relationship is something you build upon.
I think depending on your idea of soulmates, studies show that you fall in love 7 different times, right? So how are you supposed to...
I'm sorry, I just had to laugh at this. Studies show that you fall in love 7 different times. Just
on average, 7 different times.
Though.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I personally do not believe in soulmates, right? But if you're on dating sites, then I guess you can't, like, what if you're prompted with all 7 of your soulmates all at once?
That you have max 7 soulmates in the whole entire world?
Well, there's Dave, there's Jeremy,
Like,
there's Joshua.
That's depressing.
Next year we'll date, and then I guess, Josh, you're next.
There's a term for this in psychology. It was cognitive process, or that was used to describe this idea that you have so many choices to the point where you can't make a choice on what choice you should make. It describes American society, and the problem with that is we have so many options with different things that it makes us not want to pick anything.
Whatever else.
We just go with whatever the top choice Amazon gives us. Most of the time, that's what I do.
Yeah, because it's reliable.
Yeah, I don't want to scroll through 155 different printers.
Hey, I read the reviews.
I read the reviews too, but did you read the reviews for
Now,
every single choice that came on there?
Big concept. Is girls talking with other girls, like leaving reviews on your guy?
Absolutely.
I knew it.
They're rating them.
But,
and then you have like 10 people saying 5 stars. This guy's hot.
5
and
stars.
I'm like, what? I gotta get this guy.
yes, but it's also like, do you really want that coffee maker that bad? Like, maybe it's a 2-star coffee maker, but maybe it's just like, maybe
like
it's
coffee.
just really ugly on the outside, but the coffee is really good.
I can buy this house and flip it.
Maybe maybe your friend left really bad reviews, right? But you're like, fuck it, it's a good coffee maker. And then later on, your friends are like, you're right, it is a good coffee maker. Huh.
Yeah, you contributed. You made that star go up.
Huh, it functions.
It's whether or not
Who would have thought it would have made coffee?
And maybe you're on a budget, man.
You're on a relationship budget where you can only
Emotionally.
spend so many relationship coins.
That's your level. That's your status. That's only as high as you can get. You can't get a super expensive coffee maker because you're not the kind of person who owns a super expensive coffee maker.
God, why are we like this?
This was probably the highlight of my day. This is a great conversation.
Men in a band or men doing stand-up, that could be seen as the ultimate form of showing off your status. If in stand-up you're showing off your wit to everyone and you're kind of the center of attention as a male, and so it oftentimes when the stand-up gets off stage, if they're semi-known or whatever, they kind of get bombarded by women. I've heard this a lot. Almost aggressive women, like sexually aggressive women. And there's the whole appeal of the sensitive artist or the person in the band.
May I just say that I have not met a single girl who likes sensitive guys.
Wow. It's rough.
Because they're not looking for that sensitivity. They're looking for the markers of competence, I think. I really think this.
No. Because you can be confident and sensitive at the same time.
But the sensitivity is not the driving force.
It's a very significant period in time where girls are like, I just want like a sweet, sensitive guy. But then
and then they date him
and
and they don't do shit for them. And it's like,
and then they go to an asshole and they're like, I have so many problems. But like,
but I love getting fucked by this asshole because it's good.
It gives them the excitement, that up and down, like the thrill of what will happen.
All right, should we wrap up? The...
Hey, Kailani, you want to rap?
Oh, yeah. Can we get Kailani to rap?
I said, give me a beat.
No, you have to.
No, you have to produce the beat because Skype is weird and there's a delay.
Is it supposed to wrap up the whole thing?
If
Like
you
the rap
want
is
it,
supposed
Yeah,
to
it's like a kumbaya.
Yeah. Just take whatever ideas you want in your rap.
Okay, can I not do a rap? Can I do like
a poetry slam?
Poetry? Yeah.
Sure.
Go for it. Now, no pressure, but you're representing the whole female race.
Gabriel, I don't know if I could do this.
It's okay. Poems don't have to rhyme.
Right, you're right. Okay, can I just talk though? Because I'm good at talking. I'm not good at poetry.
No. You have to do it in the style of poetry slam. That's the restriction.
I wish you could see. Fuck, I almost fell off my bed. Ladies, stop posting bikini pics. Gentlemen, stop liking their bikini pics.
That's hard.
Listen, keep it in your pants. Okay, wait. I'm not in character.
No, this is part of it. Gabriel, how about you give a little bit of a poetry slam?
Yo, I like bikini pics. Why do I like them? Because evolution, biology. I like what I like. I see the boob and I click it. Whoa, I double click it twice. It's almost like touching you, but I'm not. I could touch you if I slide in your DMs. Why do we say slide? It's really like a sliding thing. When I slide into a DM, is it like metaphorically like a slide into there, or is it like inconspicuous like that? Can we not say I'm entering your DMs? Oh, that's why they don't say it, because it's entering a girl. But I'm trying to enter into a girl because I'm sliding into the DMs, sliding that dick inside that pussy. Oh no, did I say that? I'm not a misogynist. I've said that a million times. Am I sexist for talking about gender differences? Well, okay. You don't have to say that opinion.
You don't have to answer that.
My feelings.
Poetry slam.
Okay, hold on. Because my perspective and a girl's perspective are slightly different, because I feel like I might be a bit of a more independent thinker.
Do you have a penis?
No.
Do you have a penis? Kailani, do you have a penis?
Kailani, you have
Answer
more
this right
confidence. The more successful you become, the less amount of people you can hook up with, unfortunately.
What? That is absolute bullshit. If that is the case, I'm dropping out of college right now.
I'm dropping out of college right
Studying.
Men are intimidated
law
by powerful women. This is a fact.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, I don't.
You don't think so?
I know that theory, but I'm not really subscribed.
Okay, no. I will say some.
It's not in the intimidation though. They have all.
Wait. Men are prideful, right? They're generally far more prideful, and then they follow the same stereotype, the expectation that they are supposed to have certain characteristics about them, right? Some things make them feel emasculated. They don't feel.
Yeah, they want to be the caregiver.
They want to feel needed. They have certain things that they like to have. So if a woman can do that for herself, it's not necessarily that he's intimidated by it, but it doesn't give him those goals.
Poetry slam.
Yeah, that was it.
Ladies, who cares if you're single? You'll have money. You'll be the breadwinner. You don't need children. You can adopt.
Ooh.
Whoa. Is that it?
Have you guys, wait, hold up. Have you guys thought about getting married in like your future life? Because that's not something I have in my books.
I think about my future dog.
You're my future boy, my little doggy boy. How he's gonna woof woof at me someday.
It's so weird. I cannot see any of us having children or getting married.
I could see Alex getting a divorce. Please.
So far ahead of us.
Yeah.
I could totally see Alex getting a divorce. Never mind.
I'm so excited to get my first divorce, guys.
I will be there. I'll be congratulating you. I'll bring you flowers.
Mm-hmm.
I'll drive your kids back to your home because I hope that you get custody.
I'll be perfectly honest. It seems very unlikely that I could marry a woman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes any sense. I've met so little women that I click that hard with.
Dude, I would probably marry a woman above a man at this point. And I'm going to a school with all girls. So, it's pretty much it for me.
Lesbians have the hardest marriages.
That's because that's 2 periods a month, man.
Yeah, that's hard. That's a lot of expense.
I'm glad you could say that, because if we were to say that.
Yeah, we'd get crucified. Or I'd feel crucified. Yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in for Pound It, episode 5, 6. Oh, fuck. I hope it's not 2 hours and a half, because dear God, nobody would listen to that. Not even Israel. I feel like Israel wouldn't even put the whole effort.
Does he listen to everything you post?
Yeah, he really loves us. We're gonna have him on the podcast probably next episode. Thank you for listening, and we'll do our sign-off, our famous sign-off. Everybody say at the same time. 3, 2, 1. Have a good one.
Shit.
Yeah.
You didn't go slow enough.
What is the sign off?
We're gonna be in Madison Square Garden.
I love you. I love you. I